Yo, bouncing with that
drop.
KCP in the middle. Bounce, Larry. Throw that baby down.
Oh, my goodness.
Dwight Howard! Are you kidding? With some anger.
Kyrie get out of that double team.
With the hip fake. What a move by Hakeem Olajuwon.
Levine, he goes right.
Oh! Does anybody know how to post videos?
Welcome back in to the Drop Step Podcast. This is episode 31. Home team Brandon Leak. Book the hook. How's it going, brother?
We back, man. Glad to be back.
B-Dog.
Yo, what up?
Brandon Harper, how you doing, man?
Good.
Want to give a shout out to the fine folks, Steele O'Neal and the fine folks at Shaq Food Radio. We are also on other platforms as well. Let the people know.
We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, like you said, along with the Shaq Food Radio app. Download that or go to ShaqFoodRadio.com.
So a lot to get into. We'll see if we can just get through and around the topics that are of relevance in the NBA. A couple of things that we'll get to. Kobe and Shaq having a couple of conversations about what could have been, what would have been, and what it was. We'll get into that. Dwight Howard finally got his paperwork done, and he is a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, but there is a catch, multiple catches. We'll get into those. Jeremy Lin, he found work. He won't be in the NBA, but he did find a suitable suitor to take care of him. And we have to get to the immediate story, which just came out here midway through the week, where DeMarcus Cousins is recorded on tape, TMZ, the first to break it, where he levies a very specific and direct threat to the mother of his child, where he says, out of anger, that he would put a bullet in her head.
Crazy.
And he was upset because he was on the phone trying to see if she would allow their son to be a part of his wedding. He just got married, and she was not going to allow the child to be a part of the wedding. And DeMarcus clearly got mad. No way to justify it, no need to justify it. But the fallout from it, with everything that he has going on, the fact that he's injured, so you won't be talking to him a lot as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, what it means for him as a member of the Lakers on a one-year deal with a torn ACL, and what it means for him legally and his future in the NBA if he's not with the Lakers or in the NBA.
This is just something that it just doesn't sound good. It's not good at all. When you have somebody who, and I wonder, like, with their relationship, I don't know the status of their relationship. Obviously, we know it's not the greatest now, because if you're going to make a statement towards the mother of your child, I would assume that you all's relationship is not the best. But if you're DeMarcus, I think you got to be a lot smarter than this. You're the only one in this situation, obviously, and your child, but between you and the ex-wife, you're the only one in this situation that has something to lose. You're the only one in this situation who people are going to be talking about, and you're the only one who, law enforcement is going to come knocking at your door to possibly want to understand what's absolutely going on here. Now, I understand that, Book, you were married at one point. You're married now, but you have an ex-wife, and you've had kids with your ex-wife, and I'm pretty sure you can kind of, in a way, speak to this better than both me and home team can.
So, bro, I really feel bad for Boogie. Like, Boogie's been in he can't catch a break over the last couple months, first of all, man. Left a lot of money on the table.
Yeah.
Torn ACL, coming back off the Achilles, and now this, man. So, in the news for all the wrong reasons for the last couple of months. But, I can definitely identify with what Boogie's going through, man, just to keep it 100. You got to make – I would tell you got to make right decisions with who you having these kids with, honestly, because these things do come back to bite you. And it looks like he may have made the decision on, you obviously don't regret your kids, but, the relationship that you have with the mother moving forward is always kind of there as well. So I hate it for him. Sometimes you put yourself in a position like that, and it's, you don't have as much control. It's a bad reaction, first of all. You don't snap and react and those words. It's one thing to be in that situation. Most people would feel the exact same way in that situation, but then it's about how you react to being in that situation.
Well, everybody can have buttons pushed, but, you cannot say those things.
Right.
And in the environment we're in now, where people are putting stuff on social media, then following through, where people are going to schools and going to Walmarts and following through, going to nightclubs and following through, you can't be in the number of those people. You can't be on the wrong side of those comments. And, clearly this was not their first argument. Clearly this was not their first discussion about how the child should be handled. So I got to blame Boogie, because as a father or as a parent, whether he's going to be with her or not, he's got to make sure that he has his full parental rights activated and installed by the mechanisms that allow him to, which are the courts. And if they're going to have a bad relationship, they're not going to be able to work it out as two adults raising a child. He's got to go to the courts in Alabama, and he's got to get his joint custody so he doesn't have to worry about these things. But the fact that he said something that I don't know how it's not criminal. Those are terroristic threats, and I'm not a lawyer. What do the Lakers do? What can the NBA do? They really can't do anything until law enforcement steps in. And Boogie, as of right now, is reportedly out of the country on his honeymoon. Is he going to have authorities waiting for him when he comes back through customs?
And that's the crazy part about it. Like, you're dealing with this situation with your ex. You have a child, and this affects the child, number one. But now you're remarried, and now you're on your honeymoon. Can you really enjoy your honeymoon knowing that you have this stuff out here when you get back, not knowing if authorities are ready to come take you away or want to speak to you? And, if you're his wife, I don't know how she feels about this or what she thinks, but it's kind of like, what's going to happen next? We just got married, and now something like this is now coming out or has just happened. I don't know how you feel or what you think about something like this. So it's really a bad predicament and situation to be in, especially after you've just gotten married.
Right. I do want to, and this, kind of on the side of all of this, I do want to, at least acknowledge the fact that Boogie wants to be in his child's life.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I think that is one of the most important things in this entire situation, because a lot of these guys, they won't even want to be involved with their child. He reaching out to the ex-wife, reaching out to the kid's mom to try and get his kid at his wedding. Any father would do that if he had a child with another woman.
I hate to be old head.
Talk to me.
I hate to pull out a Chris Rock quote, but you're right. But you shouldn't be trying to get credit. You shouldn't get credit for things you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
You're supposed to be in your son's life. You're supposed to want to be a dad.
Right, and that's what he's attempting to do. So, and in doing that, he's hitting roadblocks. He hit a roadblock in his ex-wife or his child's mother by challenging him to do that.
Let me ask you something. I don't know how personal it is. You've been a man, you've been married, you've been divorced, you've been remarried. When relationships change and people change, and you don't agree, and let's just keep it frank, if you don't like somebody like you used to like them, what are the best ways, in your opinion, somebody who has been divorced before, if you can't see eye to eye, what are the best ways to approach things and conversations with children when there might be things that you want and it's some things that maybe somebody won't let you have?
No doubt. So I've tried it any and every way under the sun. So like I said, me and my ex-wife, we got married at 19, 20, right around there.
Young.
Had our first kids at 21, 22. So we started doing this whole adult thing when we weren't even really adults.
Man, you didn't even get to the club.
Yeah, exactly. Like, literally, my life is all backloaded. I will be that young 40-year-old here in a couple years, man. That's going to be me. So, I've tried to do it where we're friends, where we're cordial, where the kids can kind of see us, getting along, seeing my parents are the cool divorced parents. Like, we got two separate households where we get everything that we want. I've done it that way, and I've also done it the way I'm currently doing it is we don't even talk. We don't even talk. I don't want her energy involved with my circle and vice versa. So right now we just deal with our kids, and if it's not on that subject, then we don't even speak to each other. So that's the way that things are kind of going right now, and it's working. So.
I don't know how much this will impact the Lakers because he's out for the season with a torn ACL. So when players are injured, you don't get a chance to talk to injured players. So he won't be talking to the media anyway. The fact that he won't be talking and he won't be playing, I don't know how much of a Laker issue this is unless there's some swell, from the outside. Why is this guy, not being disciplined? Why is this guy still a part of the Lakers if he's not going to play and he's on tape saying these things to a woman and to the mother of his child?
I wonder if, like you said, he's injured, he won't be playing, which means he won't be forced to speak to the media, as injured players are. But I wonder if the Lakers, at some point in time, not wanting to have to deal with just any of this to an extent, just say, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and release him. I wonder if they get to a point, depending on how they continue to go through the process and what other information comes about. I wonder, because sometimes organizations don't want to go through stuff like this. Right. They don't want to have to continuously deal with things because there are other things on their plate, just basketball-wise that they have to deal with, let alone having to deal with something life-wise in regards to this. So I wonder at some point in time, do they just, look, he's hurt, and this is transpired. Maybe we should just go ahead and release him.
I would say that's 100% a possibility. That's definitely on the table. I mean, because at this point, he can't bring anything to the table basketball-wise. So, and he's bringing a lot of quote-unquote controversy to the table right now. So I could absolutely see the Lakers cutting bait. And there wouldn't be anything that he could do about it, honestly. But the other side of that is the Lakers could also hold on to him, and this whole story will go away. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers.
Now, I do agree with you that, yes.
This is a Boogie story. I don't think this is a Lakers story, especially when you get to the regular season.
They are an organization that could absorb something to this degree because of their pedigree, their championships, the problems that they've had over the past, the star power that they've had. They are an organization that could get through this. So I do agree with you with that on some point. We just don't know yet the severity. Is this just one outburst from a guy who was an angry dad who couldn't get his son? Or, will the history that kind of has followed Boogie Cousins, so some of the things that he's done in the past, confronting people, confronting a member of a broadcast team after a game, and, some of the things that he has done that haven't been illegal but may show a pattern that he's got some anger issues. Does that follow him, and does that hurt him down the road?
But we talked about, like we just said, what Boogie did was absolutely wrong. There is no, we all agree on that. That's point blank period. But to flip this around, like I said, I don't know the relationship that he has with her. But like you said, we live in a time where there are guys who it didn't work out with the baby mother or the ex-wife and they had children who are legitimately trying each and every day to be the best father they can for their children, even if they don't see them all the time. So to not have his son be a part of one of the greatest days in his life, and for that woman to say, no, you cannot, unless that man is harmful to that child, that is as much as his child as it is yours.
But see, now you have another problem. If I'm her attorney, if I'm on her side, why should a man who threatens to put a bullet in the brain of the mother be around the child?
But even before he said that.
Well, she says also that he's threatened her before. We don't know that. She said that he's choked her before, which is why, in part, she was recording him, because it is the case in this country when people make allegations against famous people, people don't believe them. They go after the accuser. She's just after some money. She's just making stuff up. She's just mad because he's getting married and moving on. And part of what she's saying is, he's done things like this before. This is why I had to go to the recording.
Okay, and if that's the case, then I can definitely understand it. I'm not one of those people to say, well, why didn't she come forward before? Right. I'm not one of those people because I never know what somebody is going through, and I never know what the last straw is for said person, because it's different for everybody. So I'm never one of those people to say, well, why didn't they just come forward before? Why is it now? I'm not one of those people. I don't know what's going on within said relationship that's preventing somebody from coming forward at a specific time. So I won't even attack it from that angle because that's not my place.
I think that Boogie signing with the Lakers, when he did, may have saved his NBA career. If Boogie signs with, I'm just going to throw a couple names out there. If Boogie is in Portland right now, if Boogie is in Indiana right now, I don't think he ever plays in the NBA again, based on the injuries that he's had over the last couple of years, as well as with this new allegation on top of it.
So you think the Lakers re-sign him?
I don't know that the Lakers re-sign him. I think that that's his own, like he's hanging on to an NBA career by a string. And right now, based on the Lakers being able to make this a quieter story than most other franchises would be able to, I think that saves his NBA career for now.
Because I can see, because of so many of the other things that are
Right.
going on with the
If
Lakers
he's in Portland and this
basketball-wise.
happens,
right?
we're
Okay.
done. You're done. Like, good luck getting another NBA team to sign you. With the fact that he's on the Lakers roster right now, that kind of saves him, gives him a little bit more time to get this issue taken care of, as well as get back healthy and maybe get back on the court.
The other problem, though, is it still comes down to the basketball. He could stay a
Right.
Laker. They could re-sign him, but what is Boogie
Right.
Cousins moving forward? You know, this is the third injury he suffered. When you talk about Achilles, you talk about quad, you talk about ACL, you know, outside of what he just had recorded, he's a guy who went from 25 points a game down to 16 points a game, down to 0 points a game because it doesn't look like he's going to play this year. When he comes back at, you know, he's 28 now, so he'll be 29 next year, knocking on 30 with all of these injuries at 270, 280 pounds. What is he? What is the legacy of Boogie Cousins on the other side of his career?
Yeah, he's definitely, and to no fault of his own outside of this situation, when it's come to the injuries, he's definitely, hurt himself from getting that max money. He is now certified injury prone to the league now. And when you're injury prone, now it's a, yes, we'll sign you, but here's this 1 year deal, or here's this 2 year deal that's not fully guaranteed. Now you're, in a sense, penny pinching compared to what you would have thought you would have gotten because you're one of the best big men in the league. So now I feel for Biggie, not Biggie, but Boogie. I feel for Biggie too. I miss Biggie.
We all do.
But I feel for him because obviously no one asked to be injured, especially to have these 3 injuries like he's had, catastrophic injuries like he's had. But it's the name of the game. Plus having this issue that doesn't help the situation. It's just been a rough 3 seasons for Boogie Cousins.
2016-17, he put up 27 and 11, averaged 27 and 11 with Sacramento and New Orleans.
Right.
Just to go on 3 injury-prone seasons. So he's got the talent, obviously.
Oh, no question.
It'll be, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens and where Boogie ends up back at, to see what the rest of his career turns out to be.
Well, one of the things the Lakers did, they needed some big man help, and unusual the route they took, but they got to what they think is a solution. Dwight Howard signing basically a summer league contract with the Lakers, and it's kind of on a trial basis where the Lakers will only be out $6,000 if they decide to part ways. He is basically going to be paid, Dwight Howard, on a daily basis.
Day to day.
And, they're skin in the game on both sides. He has something to prove. Can he stay healthy? Can he fit in the system? Is he a guy with his attitude that will be somebody who would be helpful to the locker room and them winning a championship? And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't cost the Lakers a whole lot of money. They kick the tires on the guy who's a double-double guy, and then they would have to go into their next phase since Boogie's out. In theory, if Dwight Howard would be out, who would be the next big man that can come in and help him?
Yeah, you talk about somebody else has hit rock bottom. That man has hit rock bottom. And it's not from the fact of whether or not he can still play. We could say he played 9 games last year, but in those 9 games, he averaged a double-double. I'm assuming that if you would have played a full season, his numbers wouldn't have dropped off. I wouldn't have dropped that far off. The man has averaged a double-double for his career. I still think, like I said, he can run the floor. He can rebound. I felt as though he was the best option for the Lakers based on what they needed. I don't know what I was going to get from a Joakim Noah. I don't know what I was going to get from a Mo Spates. So people can have all the jokes in the world about a Dwight Howard. It still remains that the man can still go get you 10 rebounds. Depending on how many minutes he plays, he can still go get you anywhere between, 13 to 17 points. It's just he has not rubbed a lot of locker rooms and teammates the right way. Everybody has had something to say about Dwight. There have been teams that have relished in the fact that they could get Dwight out of there. Atlanta being one of the places, his hometown, couldn't wait to get rid of Dwight Howard. So my thing is not the fact that he can't play. Obviously, he's not the same player that he was when he went from Orlando to LA the first time, but it's a guy that can still play, but it's a guy is he going to come in and treat this game the way he needs to treat it and take it at the level in which franchise need him to, especially a franchise like the Lakers in the position that they're currently in.
This will be his 5th team in 5 years. Houston, Atlanta, Charlotte, Washington, Los Angeles.
Quick stop in Memphis. no Memphis jersey, but I mean, hey, I think Dwight Howard has come full circle for me. From an Atlanta native to wanting Dwight Howard to come back to Atlanta when he shunned us, went a different direction, came back to Atlanta eventually, kind of fallen from grace since then. He's to a point now where I'm rooting for Dwight Howard. I want to see him do good. I think that this is a great fit. I think that Dwight Howard on this iteration of the Lakers is a match made in heaven. We don't have to do anything for you. You won't have a single play called for you. You might run a pick and roll with LeBron and run toward the rim, catch a oop, but that's the extent of it. Like, that's all you're getting from the Lakers. That's all that's expected of you from the Lakers. Just run to the rim and get rebounds. Real easy situation, no harm, no foul. If it doesn't work out, if it does, we both win. If it doesn't, wipe our hands clean of each other and be about our business.
I'm just thinking, I love it. Man, show up and he's going to be 12 points and 10 rebounds.
Exactly.
He's going to be that. Can you not use that in a stretch in the fourth quarter? Can you not use that in stretches in the game? Yeah, I would think you could, even if he's just what he is, just a back to the basket and kind of. He still never developed his signature move, but his size and his ability to take up space, he's still going to be a double-double guy.
And when you look down the hall at a Clippers team who has two pretty good defenders in Kawhi and Paul George, and you still have Pat Beverly there, and that team is supposed to be a defensive team, you're adding a guy like Dwight who can still, like I said, rebound, can still alter shots, who can still get down the floor. That does nothing but help you, whether it's in your first unit or second unit, or whoever you want to put out there with him on the defensive side. So I think it definitely benefits both sides, but it definitely benefits the Lakers because it's like, look, Dwight, you don't have anywhere else to go. This could be your last opportunity. It's $14,000 a day, I think, starting October 21st. So if you do something dumb before the end, you're walking away with nothing.
Nothing, not a now, nothing.
So, hey, everything is in our benefit, and this is a show me year for you.
I love it, man.
I love it too.
I really think that it makes sense.
Absolutely.
I mean, what he does and what they need, the deficiencies that they had, he feels.
Yeah.
Like, he feels them. Like I said, you don't have to run a play for him. Like, you literally just go. I don't think that they'll throw the ball to him down there on the block. I don't think he'll get points like that. But I really feel like in a pick and roll situation, getting switches, like in today's NBA on that team, it makes perfect sense, man.
Now, I did see a clip, and I tried not to overreact because I said, this ain't happening in L.A. They not going to let this go. He's working out. He's on the perimeter shooting threes. He's working on his mid-range jump shot.
We tried that here in Atlanta.
It ain't going to fly. It's nothing to see here. It's not going to fly. The Lakers are not bringing you in so you can spread the floor.
I just think it's a deal where it's a little risk and maybe the reward is a little bit more bang for your buck. Here's the question. I don't know how everything comes back to Melo. Would Melo sign a deal, have the tires kicked on him with a franchise? Anybody. I don't know. I have to look at salary cap situations and fits. But if it's the same thing, if somebody thinks he might have something left for one more time, would he be willing to do what Dwight Howard is doing, which is basically play on a day-to-day, let's wait and see basis? And should he?
I don't think he has much of a choice. My thing is when you're out of a job and you don't now, do I think he would be willing to do it? Probably not. Because I think in his heart, he's like, I'm better than Dwight Howard. He said, I know Dwight got what he got, but I think I can bring more to a team than Dwight Howard can. The man been on 5 teams in 5 years. But at the same time, if I'm Carmelo, I'm going to tell him, Carmelo, yeah, but he's at least been in the league. You're out of a job.
Beggars can't be choosers, man. If someone brings this deal to Carmelo, he better write his name on it as quickly as he can.
Take it.
You ain't got no choice.
Like, there are only so many spots. If someone offers you one of those spots, no matter what comes along with it, if you're really about getting one of them spots, you're going to take it, just like Dwight Howard did.
Or find another solution. Jeremy Lin signing with the Beijing Ducks this week. He wanted to wait. He held out as long as he could for the one more round with the NBA, and it didn't work out. He sent a nice letter, thanked the NBA fans for their support over his NBA career, and decided to go play over in Beijing. So it looks like, the latter part of his career, he wasn't going to start anyway. Right. So his position is a backup point guard for X amount of minutes for X amount of team. He knows that. The NBA knows that. And so he decided to move forward. For Melo, I don't know if he wants to play overseas once he shuts it down, or if he's not invited or welcomed back would that be it for him as we know it as a basketball
And the
player?
thing about Jeremy Lin, he got more out of this league than probably what he should have gotten. He had Linsanity in New York. You know, you got the T-shirts, got the hats. You know, you got the whole promo. He got a lot. He got a lot from this league and a lot out of the moment that he had. So I think for him, you know, and I understand, you know, he thinks he should still have an opportunity in his league. I think he needs to kind of, looking back, I think there needs to be a level of appreciation and say, you know what, for who I am and for what I was in this league, I got a lot based off that time being in the big market, being in the Big Apple, having the whole Linsanity thing. You know, I had an okay run. He's not a top 50 player in the league right now. He ain't a top 100 player. But to be outside of that and for him to get what he got, I'd say you got to be kind of proud of that.
I like Jeremy Lin as a player. I hadn't watched Jeremy Lin games, like any game he was in since New York, probably until he came to the Hawks last year when he was backing up Trae Young. And I honestly think after watching him for that half a season that he was here in Atlanta, dude is a serviceable backup point guard. He could. I honestly feel like if you stacked him up against the rest of the backup point guards in the league, he's comparable. I would think if you would have asked Trae Young what he learned from Jeremy Lin in his 50-some-odd games in Atlanta, it'd probably be a lot because his game, he picked a little bit of things from his game where he uses now. I'm glad that he was able to make it somewhere overseas. I didn't want to see his career come to an end, especially when I'm standing at a podium crying. So I'm glad he found himself a job, and best of luck out in Beijing, man.
Last thing, Kobe sitting down doing an interview has made the rounds and talking points earlier this week where he said if Shaq had been in better shape or been in shape, Kobe would have had 12 rings. Shaq kind of responded, if he had passed the ball more, we would have had more rings. So these guys going back and forth. I think when you read the headlines without hearing the tone and the context, it could take lives. They could take lives of their own meaning. But these guys, when they played together, they were alpha dogs. They really got to a point where they really didn't like each other. Kobe was right that Shaq got out of shape. Shaq was right. Kobe was hoisting up too many, and it just served its purpose for a moment in time that it did. Yeah, it would have been interesting to see if those guys could have stayed for another 3, 4, 5 years together. Could they have gotten 6, 7 championships? Who knows? But I think when you see the headlines, their relationship is not as contentious as it once was with the basketball and off the court as well. They can sit down and at least converse with one another.
This conversation is always unique, and it'll probably be unique until the end of time and probably annoying until the end of time because this is one of those conversations, no matter how many times somebody speaks about it, whether it be Kobe or Shaq, or how much knowledge that we acquire based off what they've said, anytime they come back to this, it's always new some way, somehow. It's like we've never heard this before. I've heard that from Kobe before, and I've definitely heard it from Shaq sitting right next to him in the studio when we do the big podcast with Shaq. Like, he knows that there were times where he wasn't in the best of shape. But then to his credit, if he wasn't in the best of shape and he did what he did, I think he kind of spared the league more than what he did, because he definitely didn't spare the league with what the league felt Shaq's wrath to the fullest force. So just imagine if he would have ever been in the quote-unquote shape Kobe says he should have been in. The league didn't want them problems.
Yeah, I don't think this is news whatsoever. We were kind of talking about this offline earlier. I honestly feel like, Kobe's work ethic, it has a nickname. Like the Mamba mentality, I don't think anybody else's work ethic has a nickname. I don't have the Booker mentality. I wish I had the Mamba mentality. Anybody, my point is anybody can benefit from having a Mamba mentality, including Shaq. I feel like if anybody had that type of work ethic, you're going to step up a little bit. If I had that mentality with my sales, I'd probably sell a little bit more. If you had that mentality, I'm sure you could step up in certain areas. I feel like if anybody had what Kobe brings to the game, yes, they would be better, including Shaq.
Yeah, it's just one of those conversations to where, it's another conversation for people to again pick sides. And then you see the conversation go into, well, Kobe wouldn't have done this without Shaq. Oh, no, Shaq couldn't have done that without Kobe. they both needed that's why I say it's one of the most unique 1-2 alpha male convos to have, because at the end of the day, we all come back to the point of they're one of the most dynamic tandems ever historically, and they needed each other to win regardless of who you like better. So, Kobe's my favorite player of all time, but I love Shaq to death, obviously because I know him personally, but also I know because of what he meant to the league and what he meant donning that purple and gold. So I don't see it as news, but I think every time somebody brings it up, or either time one of these guys speaks about it now or in the future, it's always going to make headlines again and
Kobe
again.
Right? Is Kobe right?
To an extent, yeah.
I don't know about the 12, but they would have won more.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's not news. I mean, Kobe is the hardest working, most cutthroat, stone cold killer the NBA has seen.
But Shaq is, and you're absolutely
There was
right.
a guy named last name
This is
George.
true. This is true. Of this
jersey.
era. Let me shorten it. Of this era. ...
But I also say, like I said, if that's the case, then Shaq spared the league, because based on what he did, and if he wasn't in shape, he's known as the most dominant force that ever graced the basketball court. So you're telling me with what he did, he's labeled that, and he wasn't in shape? I hate what he would have been like if he was.
I think ultimately for me, what it comes down to, they both won titles together with each other. They both won titles without each other. Their legacies are cemented, and everybody can pick their favorites and their sides. They're both great. They were great for the NBA. They were great Lakers. And it was great to watch them play, even if you weren't a Laker fan. So it'll be interesting. But just when Kobe, it shows you the power of the Mamba mentality, the Mamba mouth, or the Mamba mention. When he opens his mouth, it becomes news and stays in the news cycle. This one was on for a little bit more than 24 hours.
Yeah, well, the Mamba mentality, like you said, if everybody applied the Mamba mentality to whatever they do, they would probably be the greatest at what they do. But that's just it. Like, Kobe's work ethic, you always hear the stories about him putting up 5,000 shots at 4 a.m. in the gym before anybody is ever. Some folks are just going to bed when he's getting up. And then, it's just people going to work out with him. Why the heck Kobe got me up so early? Why? Because this ain't early for Kobe. Kobe gets up because he wants to be great. He does this because he wants to be great. And that's the difference between a lot of players who said they've worked out with him, how they're like, bro, I don't ever get up this early. Yeah. And that's the Mamba mentality. He loved that game so much that he didn't look at it as a joke. He didn't smile until he won.
The only person that I think in the NBA, and I know, Kobe kind of has his faction of players in the league now that are kind of coming up, modeling themselves after him, the whole Mamba line and everything, but it's kind of Kawhi-like. Kawhi is very stoic. Like, he wants to win. Like, we're playing basketball, but I want to win the game. Like, I don't care if we're playing dice. I don't care if we're playing dominoes, if we're playing spades. Like, I want to beat you. Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I got to do to beat you. And I can just respect that type of mindset, and I love it.
And it's not for everybody.
It's not. I mean, I'm not a huge Kobe fan, but his mentality, his work ethic, and, his processes, I love it. I love it, man. So, yeah, I think he's absolutely right. If Shaq had been bought in as he was based on, his physical skills, it'd have been, the league would have had hell to pay at that point.
Well, that'll do it for episode 31 of the Drop Step Podcast. Make sure you go to Spotify. Make sure you go to the iTunes store. Shout out again to Shaquille O'Neal and Shaq Food Radio. We'll be back next week, seeing what's going on and breaking down as we get ready, march closer to preseason action in the NBA, see what's going on, who are the last names to get into camps and get on the teams, and see where folks will be going next season in the NBA. For Book the Hook, for B-Dog, I'm Home Team. We'll see you next time here on the Drop Step Podcast.
We out.
Peace.
Hey, y'all, we got plenty of ways for y'all to check us out, so make sure that you go subscribe on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or even Shaq Food Radio, which plays our podcast every Wednesday and Saturday night. You can also catch us on the YouTube channels for the Drop Set Podcast, 680 The Fan, and Atlanta Sports 6. Last but not least, make sure you check out the Drop Step on IG, Twitter, and Facebook.